Welcome to the Land Your Bet Sports Betting Podcast. Got it right that time. Dieter won't tell you this, but it took me a couple of takes, man. It's like my fourth podcast of the day, so it's kind of
Oh,
tough.
no, you're working. That's so terrible.
People try to give me shit like, oh, no, you got to do more research about sports. Like, you know what, man? That job's a job, but I'm enjoying it either way.
You want to know why my takes are so pure and uncut? It's because I don't have time to think through the second part of them. That's why I got to get to fucking daycare on time. Like,
yeah, you're doing an honorable deed by being a father and fostering a child into this world, and I'm just like in between dog walks being like, you asshole, that's 30 minutes of my day. Where's the EV in this?
No, it's I'm with you. I'm with you. This is why at night I just watch YouTube productivity videos. It's like, oh, that's a good tip.
That's how you get stuff done. Productivity wise, I guess I'm going to run through how we did. I'm also going to let you guys know what we were going to have on this particular episode, and what that will be is specifically how we did. Like I said, run through that here in a sec. We're going to get some best bets, and Dieter's going to own the sides today. I'm going to own the player props. I'm springing that on him, but he's got those in a good place, I think, because he has a good read on certain things like Tyson Bagent, if you'll remember. So a lot of people enjoying that pick, and we'll get some more of that from you.
A good read on the Raiders sucking ass.
However you want to play it, man. A lot of people aren't reading your analysis or listening. They're just going, pick me, give me pick.
And that's all we're looking for. That's how I give the analysis. Here, take the pick.
It's a binary situation.
Totally.
You won or you didn't.
Yep.
So yeah, we're going to get into some of the best bets from Dietz on the sides, and I'll give you some player props as well that I like, having had time to get to them finally after a very long week in the NBA, which is a reminder for me to tell you that is going on every day of the weekdays. Here we've got an NBA video for you, and on the podcast as well. Obviously, same thing there. So you can go ahead and like and subscribe.
Hey, Josh, can you give me a good NBA line that you had yesterday?
As far as a side goes, or a prop?
Yesterday, I was texting you about this. It was Dudu, and I'm just looking at it. And it's like the only line that I liked. I should have sent this to you because I would have looked clairvoyant. Only side I liked was Detroit. That's the only side. Just because I feel like early in the season they'll be scrappy. You know, you got Cade Cunningham healthy. They actually are like somewhat deep. Not like quality, but deep. It felt right. That would have paid out, I think. But what did you have yesterday on the NBA side?
You're 100% right. It would have paid out. It was a very good pick. I actually had a little parlay that I'll tell you about, which involved the Detroit Pistons covering. It also involved the Portland Trailblazers covering the same 9.5 spread that Detroit got. They almost came back to.
Oh, they did. I turned that game off when they're like, it's still 20.
Going into the fourth, I took Portland plus 28.5.
Oh, nice.
And I got that right because they almost backdoored the 9.5, which was how much you should fade the Clippers in the fourth quarter this season. But here's my parlay. It was those two games and the Charlotte Hornets to cover, which they won outright against Atlanta.
That's right.
I was like, this is such a sloppy doo-doo slate that you got to get into it and embrace it and pick the teams that are the muck. And that's what I did. And the only one that failed was the Trailblazers, because who knew Scoot Henderson was maybe just a G League chucker. That's my too soon take. That's my too soon take. Too soon take. I love you, Scoot. That's my too soon take. Let's get back to the NFL. Let's get back to the NFL before someone torches me. I love you, Scoot.
Oh my God.
Like I said, we're gonna get into these sides here. How we did last week, not ideal. Dieter did great. He carried the load. His back's got to be hurting him. He went.
It literally is.
Yeah, but also because he's now got me on it. He's got to lug around, and so he went 2-1 on the sides. The props are where I went 3-3, but 1-2 on the side. So I'm staying away from them this week. On the season, we finally got down to under a unit, still plus units, but under 1 unit. So that's how much we really just hemorrhaged it all in 1 week. Yeah, we hemorrhaged it all in 1 week. But that's why we're coming back tempered and like refreshed as well, I would say. Interesting week 8. I'm glad, even though we're recording this on a Thursday, we don't have to talk about the Bills and Bucks because I don't want to.
No, it's touching the standalone games is tough. I mean, you might have a better feel for Monday, but Thursday, unless you're just a prodigious under hitter, like Thursday is no bueno. It's bad for fantasy. It's bad for daily fantasy. It's bad for betting. I made it a policy a while back, just like Thursday is for entertainment only. That's where I'm at.
That's like my no bet Thursdays in the NBA when it's like there's 3 games. At least 2 of these teams in the slate are in a back-to-back. It's like, nope, no bet Thursdays. Nope, I'm good, because this is when the randomness occurs, and that's what Thursday night feels like. There's a lot less variance because of the things that the factors that get neutralized that make the better team better. So
Mm-hmm.
let's get into your first side, baby, for a Sunday game, I imagine.
Okay, let's talk Chiefs, because last week they came through. I love the spot for Kansas City last week. Not only were they playing a division rival, which means that they whoop up, but they also had a mini bye. Andy Reid off the mini bye, Andy Reid off the regular bye, Andy Reid coming off the off season. Doesn't matter to me. I like Andy Reid with time to think. And then you had the Chargers, who are poorly coached, and Justin Herbert, who might be a G League chucker. So
You
no,
called
kidding.
that. No, but you called the regression in their offense that you saw there was
It's
something
bad.
more to it. Yeah.
It's bad. And listen, I think that a lot of this has to also be attributed to Kansas City's defense, which I think is pushing up as a top 5 unit right now. I know it's a top 10. And because of early season stuff, that Frank Clark's going to get added into the mix, like there's something here. Sorry, he's going to Seattle. My bad. But
Yeah.
there's something with the Kansas City defense. I think the offense is figuring it out. I've been saying Rashee Rice every week. Every week it gets a little bit more.
Yeah.
Cole Hartman's there now. I don't think he's going to have a big impact, but it's just another receiver that Patrick Mahomes can trust. Kelsey's going off. You got Valdez Scantling having a big game. Like, that's crazy to me. So that's a good sign. I just like where Kansas City's at in a really, I think they're just in a really solid place. That doesn't mean they're going to win out or anything like that. They're just in a really solid place. Unlike the Denver Broncos. Like, the one truism in the NFL, because people, I bet on Chiefs to beat AFC West. Not a hard bet, right? Even if you need them to cover. The one real truism is Chiefs over Broncos. We've already seen this game. I know that they could have learned something. What could Denver have learned? They suck? Like, they need to play Jaleel McLaughlin more? Like, I don't know what the lessons are there. And I just think Kansas City, it's bumped down to 7. Just give me the touchdown. Just give me the Chiefs. If you don't feel comfortable with the full touchdown, understandable. It's a tough number to play. Bump it down. Just bump it down a little bit. Take a little bit of a hit. Take a little bit of a haircut. Bump it down to 6.5. Bump it down to 7.
Yeah.
But the notion that Kansas City, who feels like they're rolling right now, Denver has no schedule. They have no advantage here. They just have no advantage here. So I'm going Kansas City until the wheels come off.
I like to call it buying your sanity, right? I usually say hedge your sanity, but the half a point that you would buy to get yourself over a touchdown,
Totally.
Just buy your sanity then. Will you go from minus 110, 115 to minus 130, 135? That's for sanity's sake. You still
these things are fair. It's a fair market deal.
Yeah.
You're buying a little bit of something extra. They're giving it to you at the exact rate. Like, it's all fair.
Why is it 7 and not 7.5 or 8.5?
Just because of backdoor possibilities, just because this game could probably be settled pretty early. I don't know if that changes a lot, but Kansas City doesn't have a need to take this game like deeply seriously.
Right? Fair. Yeah, exactly.
So I don't feel great about a flat 7. I just don't feel great about a flat 7. I never really like numbers above 6.5.
Yeah,
I just don't. I know that there's certain keys, and 8 is probably a better number than 7 if we're talking about this game. And some people are going to like that. I just don't. Because I do think that Kansas City will have the ability to throttle off here in this contest. And then it's like, oh, well, Sean Payton kicked 2 field goals late, and suddenly we're within 7.
It wasn't even that. Yeah, it was a touchdown at the very end. That was an incredible catch by Cortland Sutton.
Yeah.
But on that was Thursday night. And for this one, I wonder, like, why is it 7 when we just saw them lose by 11? Why is it?
I don't.
Is it 7?
And the money,
to be fair, the money's coming in on the Broncos. The bets are coming in on the Chiefs. So there is a bit of the public likes the Chiefs but the public's always going to like the Chiefs. And you've hit the Chiefs 2 weeks in a row. And I've said to you on both weeks, like, well, the Chiefs don't cover, just be careful. The Chiefs don't cover. Maybe it was 2 out of 3 weeks because they beat the Vikes. That, right? Yeah. And either way, it was like, I'm throwing the things at you that are the reasons that you don't always want to bet on the Chiefs, especially when you get this terrifying 5.5 number against the Chargers. And you've bulldozed through all of that. Can I
didn't
ask?
care.
Do you not care? I know partly because Denver's Denver. So do you not care more because you believe in the quote unquote new Chiefs, where it's like they've got a great defense, they're less worried about big explosive plays and more worried about chunk yardage and just making themselves feel comfortable at every moment of the game, that they have the lead they want with the
Right.
ball when as much as they want it? Is it that, or like the new look Chiefs, or like I said, the matchup where it's like the 32nd worst, the worst defense versus the seventh best defense,
Yeah.
less than half of the league, like middle of the pack to worse sort of offense, versus the sixth best most efficient offense, regardless of anything other metrics. So
It's a cop out, but I like both of these things. And what I come back to with Kansas City is pretty simple. They score touchdowns.
mm,
They're not kicking field goals. They're scoring fucking touchdowns. They have a balanced offense. They have a balanced defense. I think that a lot of people are just anchored to the early season loss to a good Detroit team
mhm,
and thinking, oh, Kansas City's not the same.
yep,
The Roosters have come home. Like I don't buy it. What I
you're right.
see is a really good team that needed to ease into this a little bit and is still easing in a
Yeah,
smidge. I don't think we've seen the best of this Kansas City offense yet, but they've committed to Isaiah Pacheco as their lead running back. That matters. That gives them some actual balance. It takes a little pressure off of Mahomes, which we saw in the Jets game. It was just him. It was just him going for it. That's not a sustainable model for an entire regular season. Once they gave Pacheco the rock as the A number one, that changed the look of the offense. Kelsey's just going to get open. Who the fuck is guarding Travis Kelce on the Denver Broncos?
somebody should try at any rate. He's
They
really
should
just
triple team
running.
him.
He's just running routes against either one guy that he boxes out or no guys, and he's just finding the place in the zone, and there's not even a play call.
Right. So you can't, and this is, by the way, like the paradox now that you have some balance. You can't blitz Mahomes now.
Mm,
If you blitz Mahomes, it's 50 to the house by just dishing it off to Rashid or Pacheco or just anybody. He's just dumping and going
Pacheco's
because you
catching
have
balls,
that
yeah.
run game.
Yep,
Because you have that run game.
yep,
Because now you have to think about blitzing. You can't do it. You can't do it because there's RPOs now involved in the passing game again. You
yeah.
got Kelsey who's just going to be open on any play he wants. The offensive line's a little shaky, but interior is strong, which I like. So you're not getting that right in the face pressure. You can step up out of the pocket. But listen, Kansas City is one of the best teams in the NFL. It's ridiculous that this is something that needs to be stated publicly. Like they're fucking sick. They should be the favorites in the AFC. I haven't really knocked off of
Yeah.
that at all. Now, I
Yeah.
will say this. They are going to Germany next week to play the Dolphins. A little bit of a look ahead spot, which is why I don't love 7. That's where I'm at. But they
Mhm.
put up touchdowns. So when it was 5.5 for the Chargers, it's like, where's the 5 come into play? Everything they do is 7. We're
Mhm.
operating on scales of 7 here with Kansas City.
A
So
part of it is the primetime game on Sunday night where Zach Wilson covers against them, and that frustrates people in a way that the
totally.
emotions maybe get into play, and you find
But
value
the
on
Jets
Kansas
have a
City.
really, really good defense. You know who doesn't?
Yeah,
The
the
Denver
Broncos.
fucking
No, they have
Broncos.
the worst one, according to DVOA, which we all seem to live by now. So
I
let's
mean,
get to
it
bet.
doesn't even matter. I just watched the Denver Broncos, and I'm
Right,
just like, I think Kansas City could put up 550 yards this week. So
if
I,
they
I
so
think
choose.
you and I could put up 400.
Yeah, yeah. It does feel a little bit like when they're winning against these teams, it's big bro against little bro, and they're like, let me just win by a few here.
Yeah.
Let me get a HORS, and then I'll beat you in horse instead of anything else.
I
So
didn't feel awesome when
yeah,
I saw this at 7.5, but I was going to take it just because, again, Denver sucks. But to get it at 7, now I can bet it down a smidge, get that 6.5. Like it just
still
feels,
hit it.
it
Yeah,
just feels like the play.
I like it. Let's move on to side number 2 here.
Yeah. Do you know anything about Will Levis?
I don't, because I don't watch college football, and he basically just
Okay.
got stashed away as soon as he got drafted.
Yeah, so I do watch college football. In fact,
know.
I watch a good deal of Kentucky college football because I'm an SEC head, and I'm a sick puppy. Will Levis is not a good quarterback. Like, he is downright terrible. And we've seen this in the preseason before. So as much as the Tyson Bagent play worked out, the secret Bagent man, as much as that worked out because I watched Bears preseason football and go, this guy gets the ball out on time. Like, I don't think he's going to win this week, but it could be way worse. Getting the ball out on time is pretty paramount to running an effective offense as a quarterback. Will Levis just doesn't know what he's doing out there. It's all Sanskrit to him, and he does not know any other languages. It is. You can see him melting down. We know, and by the way, they're having to go to him because he's the third option. It's not as if Malik has been any better. He's been awful too. So, Ryan Tannehill in this spot, I wouldn't like the Atlanta Falcons -2.5, but it's not going to be Ryan Tannehill in the spot. It's going to be Will Levis. And so for all of the consternation, I think fair consternation that we have over Ridder on the road, Arthur Smith just being weird and not like running effective offense. The Bijan situation from last week was strange. Actually, it wasn't strange. I think it was actually illegal based on NFL rules.
It's being looked into.
Like the Falcons -2.5 at Tennessee. I have to take Atlanta. I think they're a better team on the whole. I do think that Tennessee would have a slight quarterback advantage if it was Ryan Tannehill, which is just a sad sentence to say out loud. And now that that advantage is no longer there, Desmond Ridder is clearly the better quarterback in this game. I'm going to take the better quarterback and the better team. Full stop.
I don't know what the craziest thing that you just said was, even if it was true. I don't know what the most incredible thing to me of what you just said was between Desmond Ridder's the better quarterback or Ryan Tannehill would be the better quarterback. The ghost of Ryan Tannehill. Those are the two of the craziest statements in the world, and they're both true.
And that's where I come to. I mean, like, ultimately, one of the biggest things that, especially when so much of my job is recapping games and saying, like, what actually happened. And so often, I think in every time, it's just, he was the better quarterback that day. This guy wasn't. This guy was the second best quarterback. Like, that has to be where you start when you're talking about sides. Who has the better quarterback? That doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to bet that side, but that should be a pretty heavy weight in the overall calculation of who's going to win and what the spread should be. And I do think it's a bit telling that Tennessee's line hasn't changed all that much, but I think that's an indictment on Tannehill and not on any sort of confidence in Will Levis. And I think it's misplaced because, I think Will Levis is going to go out there and just get destroyed. Atlanta's defense isn't particularly good, but they ain't dumb. And I don't know how to put this in a kind way. Like, Will Levis goes out there and he looks stupid. He looks like he's never seen any of this stuff before. And
I feel like if you tried really hard, you could have thought of a nicer way to say it. But
I didn't. I also stupid. So as long as Will Levis is starting this game, so I would wait right up until the very end because the number doesn't really matter. It really doesn't. If Will Levis is starting this game for Tennessee, whatever the Atlanta side is, take it. They're already favorites on the road. Run it up to 4.5 if you have to. Like, it's going to be a blowout for Atlanta. If
there's still the possibility that Tannehill starts.
Not that I've heard.
So it's either Malik Willis or Will Levis.
Yeah, and Malik Willis gives me a slight pause in just like, I think Will Levis is markedly worse than Malik Willis, and Malik Willis might be the worst quarterback in the league.
He's the worst quarterback that stepped on a field since he came onto one last year.
Yeah.
Last year was the first time he stepped on a field. I thought maybe he'd get noticeably better, which wouldn't mean that he'd still even be average. It just meant he wouldn't be incapable of a completion.
They're not stashing Will Levis as like he needs to learn the system. You can learn the system as a backup. Why is he on the roster with Malik Willis? It's because Malik Willis is a better quarterback than him in the eyes of Mike Vrabel, who's a pretty astute dude who has shitty quarterbacks.
That's disgusting. So, because all I've heard as I've talked about this game with other people who know way more about the NFL than I do, especially as the NBA starts, I'm not going to claim to, like, I'm already not as good as at betting the NFL. I'm just good enough at it when I do the research based on models that I rip off of smarter people once again.
Yeah.
And
that's all it is.
So that's it. In NBA, I'm originating my own numbers with my models, right? So that I can like feel good about the bets that I'm making against the books. And so my main point here is like, what I do know when I'm listening to these other people talk to is like it's coach and quarterback, and it feels like too much of this of the some of the sharps that I know, not all of them, but some of the sharps that I know taking the Titans is they just love Mike Vrabel.
And I think that's valid.
Love him so much, and it's valid with him at home as a dog. Like Mike Vrabel or Mike Tomlin, home dog. the sharps are going to just literally go like this and bet because it's a
Yeah.
situation. And it's that's
Mhm.
all it is. They're getting points with those guys in that situation. They don't care anymore.
Totally.
And I do though. I think even though the coach can be super important, at the end of the day, if your quarterback is bad enough, that's going to supersede any coaching
Totally.
that you could possibly do, right? And that's
That's
why
where
I
I'm at.
agree with this pick.
That's where I'm at 100%. You can say X, Y, Z, Derrick Henry, all this stuff. By the way, Hopkins on the trade block, that tells you everything you need to know.
That's crazy.
At least we remember where he plays now.
Yeah. Two games ago he was awesome. Then last week he was gone again, and now he's going to be gone again.
Yeah.
What a time.
He's not worth the trouble. But because he's one of those guys who is actually smart and kind of, it's like a Rajon Rondo situation. Like Rajon Rondo is like a basketball genius, but people can't fucking stand him.
Yeah.
Chris Paul, same thing. Just can't stand him. You got to know your audience. Regardless, starting Will Levis or even Malik Willis supersedes any positives. And the reasons that sharps love Vrabel is because Vrabel was able to like get at Belichick with some arcane rulebook shit at one point, and that's like, oh, that's like a sharp's wet dream is to like know a very idiosyncratic rule that you can use on primetime television to effectively win a game. So he's always going to be in their book.
Plus, Mike Vrabel is never going to cost you $10K on a game that you might throw down the way that Josh McDaniels is definitely going to.
Right.
For instance.
He's not going to kick the field goal down 18. Yeah.
Precisely. So I guess, I'm not going to disagree with that at all. We both can't like have this weird magnetism to the Falcons. Like
I don't think any of these bookies know what to do with them.
Yeah, agreed.
And maybe we're wrong too, but
no,
they're not right.
Because what we're both saying when we pick the Falcons to win the NFC South and in a game like this is like, oh, you're telling me everybody here sucks? All right, fuck it, I'll take the Falcons.
That's right. That's right. The standard to take the Falcons is exceptionally high, and it is consistently met.
Yep. Well,
like
agreed.
Every other team in this division sucks a fat one. I guess I'll take Atlanta. Like they have good players. They do have at least a theoretical identity that they sometimes execute.
Sometimes.
They're tough. They want to play Navy style football. Like that's what they're about.
Yeah, agreed.
I think they're pretty smart. Sometimes they're too clever by half, but exactly. I think they're a pretty smart team. That matters to me. And then in this game, it's like you're starting Will Levis. Will Levis sucks. So
that's wild. Yeah, keep an eye on that on the lineups, like Dieter's saying here, to make sure Levis is playing. But honestly, if Malik Willis is playing, I'm still very fine with -2.5.
Yeah, I don't know if that appreciably changes it, but I just don't feel as great about it. I feel way better if Levis is starting taking Atlanta. Final side here, and this is another one you're going to have to just keep an eye on. If Brock Purdy plays for the 49ers, I'm not confident in this side. I'm not confident in this play. And I'm very interested to see what the line will do because, as noted on the internet, you don't really need an analytics department. You just need to see what happens when your quarterback is on the injury report to the line. That's all you need to know. If your quarterback is not going to play and Vegas is like, get away from this team, you have a good quarterback. If your quarterback's not going to play and Vegas is like, we don't care, then you should probably get a different quarterback. Full stop. You don't need a scouting department or analytics department. You can outsource that shit right to the sharps. So Bengals +3.5 right now at San Francisco. Here's what I like about it from the Bengals side. Joey Burrow's gotten a full week off to rest that calf, right? This is about as good as he can get physically, I'd imagine, going into this game. San Francisco's defense was inept against Minnesota. They have the players, but Steve Wilkes, the defensive coordinator, is being exposed on a weekly basis now. He doesn't know what to do with them. And Kirk Cousins and Kevin O'Connell just absolutely had a field day. A little bit inside football here. Like, if you have a competent quarterback, aka not Will Levis, you go up to the line of scrimmage with 2 or 3 plays. You look to see what the defense is doing. You give a little bit of a fake, you get some motion going. Okay, now you really know what they should be doing based on film study. And then you either run the play number one, or you can to one other play or two other plays. And in the case of Kirk Cousins, he's carrying 3 plays in his head. And it was so telegraphed every time the 49ers were about to blitz. It was so telegraphed every time the 49ers were about to play zone. It was child's play for Minnesota. They always had the right play call. Now, their players weren't necessarily capable of executing it to a high level every time.
God bless you, KJ Osborne.
But they always had the right play call. And that has to be noticed. The book is out, and it's on now Steve Wilks, the defensive coordinator, to adapt. And there's no evidence whatsoever that he'll adapt because it's just getting worse by the week. It started off pretty good because he was just running basic stuff, trying to figure it out. And basic stuff with great players oftentimes is going to look pretty good. Now you start adding complication, you can mess up a good thing. And that's what's happened. And there's certainly no innovation or cleverness happening here. They don't run stunts. They blitz right from the A gap. They telegraph it all the way. There's nothing interesting happening. And they blitz at all the wrong times and run 4-man. Basically, the cut and dry of it is this. You had Kirk Cousins consistently getting rushed by 4 guys. Fine. That's what the 49ers should be about. Which means that they had a 7 to 4 advantage, right? Because they're always keeping in someone to block. So you had 6 against 4 up front. Kirk isn't a runner. So you had 7 against 4. And they were consistently getting chunk yardage in the passing game. That's a big problem for San Francisco. And it's something that I think Burrow and Zach Taylor can easily exploit.
Kirk Cousins was doing that with Brandon Powell. KJ, I clearly am not meant to be a top 3 wide receiver on a team.
Totally.
Osborne,
don't throw me this ball, KJ Osborne.
Jordan Addison, who is going to be a good
good
wide receiver and catches touchdowns based on talent and just fly route running, which is fine for now. Yeah. Either way, the point is that you didn't
not
have
a technician,
not Jamar Chase, not T Higgins, not that group of Boyd as well, even Tyler Boyd,
right.
like not that crowd of people. So, like I agree with you. I just want to ask a quick question.
Yeah.
Before I get to my props, the number is 3.5 for the Bengals.
Yeah.
You literally sometime in the last hour that went from 3 to 3.5.
Yeah.
So if Purdy plays,
that gives me some pause that Purdy's going to play. And if Purdy plays, I don't like the money line at plus 145, but I do like the number for Cincinnati still.
And if Purdy plays, the news will probably bump the line in your favor if you like the Bengals, even a half a point or a point. Might as well grab the 4 and get a push if that happens, or if it gets to 4.5, definitely take it, right?
Yeah, I think you hold off on money line until you see what the line is right before the game, because the Purdy thing, with the concussion, it's going to take up until the day of the game. So it'll be some Schefter tweet on Sunday morning being like, Brock Purdy's going to give it a go, or Brock Purdy won't play. Now, let's mention the Purdy thing here real fast.
Yeah.
The difference between him and Sam Darnold is significant.
Okay.
I know that a lot of people won't suspect that they'll just say, oh, Kyle Shanahan's quarterback, everybody's good in that system. Let me tell you, as someone who's seen everybody playing Kyle Shanahan's system ever, no, they aren't. They don't have to be good. Now, I don't think Sam Darnold is inept. I don't think that he's going to be horrendous. But Brock Purdy has been pretty damn good. Now, last 2 weeks, not so much. But he still had his moments, for sure. And this is a guy who makes big-time throws when he has the weapons around him, which he has prodigious weapons around him. He has 5 All-Pros around him, essentially. Now, I will say this. Kyle Shanahan, in his career, without Deebo Samuel, is 8-9. He is already 0-2 this season. Now, last year they went 4-0 without him, but they also brought in Christian McCaffrey right around that same time. Christian McCaffrey made up for the difference because they rode Deebo into the ground. Deebo died. They had to get somebody else to do it. Now, the issue is Christian McCaffrey can't carry that load, not with that oblique right now. And if you're going to be feeding Brandon Ayuk the ball, which they should be doing, your offense gets a little traditional. And when you have a traditional offense, it's not a situation where Brock Purdy is going to shine. Brock Purdy is going to shine in an a-traditional manner where he can distribute the ball into different people at weird places because he'll get it there every time because he can see it better than the defense can. And he's a great executor of getting the ball out on time to the person in a spot that is a bit atypical.
And not to get too nerdy about it, but
Yeah.
like last week, it seemed like they were really trying to open up the middle for Kittle without Debo, and
Right.
couldn't do it.
Couldn't do it.
Couldn't get it. Could not
Couldn't do
zing
it.
it
And they
over the
can't
middle.
run up the middle. They have no inside zone game.
Mm.
And it wasn't until Shanahan just said, "Fuck it, just run screens. Just have McCaffrey run a wheel route and throw it to him before he gets to the line of scrimmage. And we're basically going to pass our way into a run game." It
Yeah.
wasn't until he did that McCaffrey started opening up the game a little bit.
Yeah.
But they are ironically an outside the numbers team right now. For the entirety of the Shanahan era before Brock Purdy, they were an inside the numbers team. Jimmy Garoppolo couldn't throw it outside the numbers.
Right.
He refused to do it. Now they can only throw it outside the numbers. Without Deebo Samuel, you don't get the whole field. And if you don't get the whole field and you have Brock Purdy, now you're having Brock Purdy of arm strength having to pass it outside the numbers. That's an interception possibility.
It's not timing anymore.
It's not timing. That's about talent.
Yeah.
So now basically you're asking him to play the Justin Herbert game without the Justin Herbert talent.
Understood.
And I don't like that to keep him in the positive on the touchdown to turnover ratio, which is where he absolutely needs to be. Because again, his talent is in seeing defenses, executing a lot of, being able to comprehend a lot of plays. He's Kirk Cousins without the experience. Right. And we've seen Kirk Cousins in exact situations like this. It's just dangerous. Cincinnati's defense is kind of ass, but I think they have enough. I think they have enough up front, and I think that their secondary is middling at best, and that might be enough here.
Yeah,
I'd like a shootout if Purdy plays, and I'll hold on to that Bengals number. And if it's Sam Darnold, the talent's there to be an outside the numbers guy, but he's going to be out there proving that he's the dude. There's going to be an uneasiness there. Yeah. I don't think there's going to be a trust. You already don't have Debo. I think it's going to be a mess for Shanahan in that offensive line up the middle blows. One of the worst interior offensive lines in the NFL. I'd take the Bengals money line and whatever the number is, double down on it if Darnold plays.
Okay, so we're recording this on Thursday, and I'm going to have this up hopefully by Thursday evening, but more likely by Friday morning, because Thursday I'm going to have some Thursday night stuff for people. But the question I want to I want to recap what you the best you're talking about here with timing involved, because let's say like people see this on Friday morning, for instance.
Yeah,
Friday morning, there's still no specific announcement about who's the quarterback, right? It's 3.5 for the and the money line for the Bengals is plus 145 right now. You still don't know tomorrow morning. You haven't made a bet yet. What do you play there with that or anything, or do you wait?
You need to read the report. There's nuance in all of it. If the reports sound like they're leaning, and we'll find out here, I can tell you exactly when you'll find out. If around I'd say like 3:30, 4 p.m. Pacific, I think we'll have a better idea.
On Friday.
And that's if Purdy doesn't play, or if Purdy doesn't practice. If Darnold's taking all the first team reps, if that's still happening on Thursday, whatever that number is for the Bengals, probably hit it, because I don't think it's going to get any better. I don't think it will get up to. I don't think it will get.
Let me put it this way. I think too, like, because I agree with what you're saying. I doubt that people are going to be
in terms of the money line. I'm sorry, I should be very specific. In terms of the money line, if you feel confident on the money line, which there's the play there. Like it's concussions. What 25% of players come back after a week with concussions? It shouldn't be that high.
One has come back since like 2 or 3 seasons ago.
No, Schefter had something yesterday being like, we lied.
Oh, okay. He had that wrong.
I don't know.
That seemed highly unlikely.
It's so difficult to carry so many different jugs of water at the same time.
No doubt. So I'm going to also just simplify this for people how I see it too, right? Very simply speaking, right now it's at 3.5. There's no situation that you wouldn't take 3.5. Let's be very clear about that.
Right.
So if you just want to play a bet right now, the play is plus 3.5, because if Sam Darnold comes in, might actually drop below that 3.5. If Brock Purdy comes in, at worst, it's going to, maybe it gets a little bit better. But even if it goes to 4, you've got the 3.5. So I think you just take that and feel good with it now. I think if you want to hit the money line, dude, to be honest, you just do it now also, because no matter, like, it's not going to get better. And even if you get like another little bit of juice with Purdy come in, you risk the fact that maybe the official Darnold news causes the line to quickly move, especially if it comes out like Sunday morning. And that's when people are just like, oh, frantic. I don't know. I'm not going to look into this
there's
further.
going to be a lot of reactionary
Yeah,
spending,
so
and honestly, they probably won't know until Sunday morning.
and I just
They
I just
will,
wanna
if
say this
nothing
so
else,
that
for game
it's
planning, right? Like Shanahan can play it coy all the way up until the very end. Why wouldn't he?
yeah. Okay, yeah, that's fair. And I'll just say this so that it can be said that it was said. There's always a chance that the quarterback who is not the starter comes in, some random rah-rah stuff
100%.
happens. He's got a better arm than
Mhm.
Purdy. That's not even a
Yep,
question. He has
that's
top
right.
2 pick talent raw
Mhm.
wise. And
Mhm.
there's even still the possibility, according to people who are like once again smarter than me at football, that
Mhm.
underneath the ghost that Sam Darnold started to see at MetLife
Mhm.
Stadium is a really good a really average quarterback in this league that could start on maybe
He
15 teams to 10 teams.
I don't think the New Orleans Saints would be any worse if Sam Darnold was their starting
Precisely.
quarterback.
Precisely.
But let me just throw it to you this way. Everyone is going to be enamored by physical talent, and Sam Darnold has that in spades. It's jaw-dropping to watch him actually spin the goddamn football. It's really fun, and you extrapolate that out, and you think, man, what could have been? It's why he got drafted number 3 overall. It's why Zach Wilson got drafted number 2 overall. He spins a pretty football, baby. You get enamored by the jawline and the tight spiral. And it's just, if it works, it'd be spectacular, it'd be as good as it is. That ain't what wins in the NFL. It's between
100%.
the ears and it's timing that wins as a quarterback in the NFL. Now, if you have incredible physical skills on top of it, congratulations, you're Patrick Mahomes or you're Josh Allen, who doesn't really have the timing. And you're an MVP candidate every year. In the case of Patrick Mahomes, you might be the greatest that ever does it. But it's all about being an offensive coordinator on the field and being someone who can deliver the ball to the players, who can run fast, on time, and in stride. And I have seen no evidence in any of the Sam Darnold that I've seen before he got to San Francisco or after he's gotten to San Francisco that he is actually that guy. He'll
Yeah.
make some throws. They might stand a chance. I'm not taking the Bengals to win by 30 here or anything like that,
Mhm.
but he's not Brock Purdy. It's never even been in question. And
Yep.
there's a lot of people who aren't around this team who see the arm strength, see the spiral, and go, what could have been?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so awesome. Imagine this guy with Kyle Shanahan. Yes, there's
Yeah.
always a chance the backup quarterback does it. I just think that the
Yeah.
Sam Darnold thing is more narrative than reality.
Totally. No, there's more realities where Sam Darnold comes out and they lose this game than there are not. And
He
there's
didn't have
also
that
an
good of a
equal
preseason. Like
yeah.
him and Trey Lance were kind of neck and neck for him, and Trey
The
Lance is not good.
the fact that that was a conversation, yeah, it kind of makes you a little uncomfortable. Who knows what was going on there too with wanting to make sure that people thought. Anyway, I'm going to move us on to
Yeah,
player
let's talk
props.
sides.
Yeah.
Or, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Boys.
props. But it's interesting because I'm going to start with a team that we've talked about I think every week now, and that's the Seahawks. I'm
Nice.
enamored by them. I'm
Okay.
completely enamored by them. And
In a
the
weird way, because they have like a strange energy.
actually I was let me actually rephrase that. No, not actually their strange energy, although I'm sure Pete
It's a
Carroll has
strange energy.
Pete Carroll has vibes rolling
Yeah.
through that place. I don't know what they are, but they are vibes and they're
It's just
strong waves.
everything's a competition,
Mm.
and that becomes kind of toxic at a certain point.
It can, yeah. It seems like
I think they have good energy. I'm just saying, like,
The Russell, yeah, yeah. I think they have good energies where I'm going because I think the Russell Wilson exit has really allowed the underlying flowers to blossom while he was sort of just the weed there. But what I will say about the Seahawks is when I meant by I was enamored actually, and then I made up my mind fully when they shut down Jamar Chase. And I'm like, their secondary is fucking good. I'm
yeah,
done. I'm done wondering because all it came down
no
to was
pass rush, great secondary.
precisely. And by the way, like Devin Witherspoon is really freaking good, like really good. And when they got eaten alive by the Rams in week 1 and even in week 2 with the Lions, guess who wasn't playing? Their really good 5th overall pick of the draft, Devin Witherspoon. I see him do things in games. I'm like, oh my God, someone just died on the football field. Who hit? Oh, it was Devin Witherspoon with another hit. Got it.
Mhm.
Okay. So he's very terrifying. And I believe in them now. And you know who I don't believe in, even though I love him so much, is my boy PJ Waka.
Yeah.
What a win! What a win by the Browns when PJ coming in.
I mean, I'll say this. I thought we were going to get a push. I've never rooted for a push so hard in my goddamn life. I was like an Eagles fan. They get the 2-point conversion.
Talking about the Colts game,
Just laid a dookie. And it's
it
like,
was bad. It was annoying.
was
That was
not a
Deer's
good-
only miss. And to be fair, I feel like it was a winner. So
I'll tell you
went
this real fast, like really fast. When you're dealing with a defense like the Browns the 49ers who run, rush 4, drop back a bunch of dudes. Now the Browns play a lot of man-to-man. The Niners play a lot of zone. Maybe we shouldn't use the Niners as a positive example anymore. But the Browns got burned because Garner Minshew ran. So a testament to the Colts being well coached. That has always been an issue for rush 4 defenses, kind of that wide 9 style that they run up front. Rushing quarterbacks, just fuck them. Just fuck them.
Nice.
Because it's 11 against 11 now, and they don't have the numbers. So something to keep in mind moving forward against the Browns. If you think someone can run against them, that defense, who is awesome, not so awesome. And if you got a plotter, you got an elephant back there, pound the Browns, because now they got 11 for V10, and that's an advantage they're going to win every time because Myles Garrett is worth like 5 dudes.
Well, Geno Smith may not be
he's a plotter.
Wheels. You think he's a plotter? I think he can get 13.5 rushing yards.
Oh, okay. I think he'll have to.
You think he's good for over 13?
13 is tough because if we were playing college rules, I wouldn't like it, but it's the NFL. So yeah, give me 13.
All right, well, let me get to the actual pick that I have here, even though we do like Geno Smith now, maybe a little bit over 13.
Yeah.
we just
I've been pounding it for the last like 30 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so the bet that I like from this game is actually on the side of the Browns, and I'm taking an under. And PJ Walker's passing yards are still at I want to make sure I don't give the wrong number out. Yeah, okay, it dropped a little bit. You can still find a 207.5.
Okay, I was going to say anything under 200 feels pretty good.
It's 202.5 now on DraftKings, and to make sure that you get the best number, definitely shop it, because I think you might still be able to find. And this might matter, dude. I mean, I've gotten beaten by a few yards.
Some of these player props that you're losing by half a yard. It's like
so annoying. That's what's got me off the Zay Flowers. I finally had such a bad come down from not hitting a Zay Flowers prop. I'm not betting him again. I almost thought about it this week, and I was like, stay off it, man. So I am going to take under 20. I got him at 207.5. I still say take it at under 202.5. Once you start getting into the 190s, I get a little bit scared because it's been pounded in my head that anybody who starts in an NFL game who's not named Will Levis or Malik Willis can get 200 yards in a game. But I don't think he's going to. I think you get a little cushion with the 207, even the 202. So with that in mind, this defense is good. Like I said, not only do we have Devon Witherspoon, obviously we have Tariq Woolen back there, and Jamal Adams is going to be playing in this game as well. You look at what happened since Jamal Adams, take it or leave it, but like it's a name that people will be like, oh, he's good and very diesel. So I can say it to people who, anyway, don't call me out like that. They have yet to allow.
Literally didn't say a word.
He's looking at me for those of you listening on the podcast.
Yeah, no, there are some eyebrows.
The defense since he came back, Mr. Witherspoon, 5th overall pick, 6 yards per attempt that they've allowed. They have held 3 straight quarterbacks to below this number. And I don't really know what about PJ Walker would make you think that he's going to get over it. Even in towards the end of that game, it was the defense. I don't think there's very many situations where there's even what you would consider a negative game script for PJ Walker. Like they'd have to be down 3 scores, at some point in the second half for them to just completely abandon Kareem Hunt, who is going to play, and Jerome Ford, who after
Jerome Ford's not going to play.
He's not playing.
They're going with Pierre Strong.
And that's an injury thing. That's not like
Ford's going to be out for like 2 weeks.
Oh,
he's got a high ankle sprain.
Got you. I could read you the NBA injury report right now, but I'm glad. But
that said, Pierre Strong, South Dakota State,
good player.
In fact, I like Pierre. Do we have any Pierre Strong numbers? Because Hunt's banged up, and I think they might just ride. They rode Pierre Strong all the way down the stretch in Indianapolis. They might do it the entire damn game against Seattle.
35.5 yards.
Love it. Pound it.
Wonderful.
Pound it.
Maybe a Lander ladder in order. We'll get back to you on social media there.
Really brown ladder for Lander.
That's right, baby.
Okay, what else you got? What else you got that's been vetted?
Let me get you out of here on these ones, and you tell me which one you want to talk about. Travis Etienne. I'm taking him in this one against a decent run defense, I will say, in Pittsburgh. Not a good one. And I think that it's been good against bad running backs. So I'm taking Etienne over 62.5 rushing yards, which is still available as I'm looking at it right now.
Has to happen for Jacksonville. So
yeah, exactly.
If you like Jacksonville at all, you have to like this bet.
And if you think that that's the game script, then 18 rushes is what he's already averaging, right? I'm not great at math, but he doesn't need 4 yards a carry to get 63 yards. I think he's got 18 totes. So Etienne, because like you said, the game script has to be for that to happen for them to be successful. Here's one that I like. I think you can take another under here. On a guy I tried to take a little bit of an over on last week, Desmond Ridder. Or no, I tried to take an under on him last week and it failed, is what I meant to say, in the
You're going
yard.
to do the under again.
But I'm going to do the under on touchdowns.
Oh.
1.5 touchdowns.
Passing.
Under 1.5 passing touchdowns. I don't like the lack of Bijan. I don't like what's going on there. I don't like when a team is getting investigated by the NFL because they just, what are you doing?
It's just a troll. He doesn't actually want to coach these teams. He just wants to prove that he can and fuck up fantasy football people.
The pudgy Captain
Morgan. It's all a bit.
So while here's the thing, Tennessee is allowing 3.7 yards per carry. So I understand that like he's gonna have to throw. They're much more vulnerable. Like you can pass on them for sure a little bit more. It's still like 7 yards an attempt. Not awesome, not bad that the Titans are allowing. Like you can pass on them a little bit for sure, and we saw it much more in the beginning of the season. But I think like getting under the 2 touchdowns for him, something he's only done once now, is a pretty good number, even at like the minus 145 that I have it at. I'm willing to eat the juice for that and even put it into some parlays if you want to get something better for it, something you feel great about. Fine, you can probably get this close to even money. But I just don't see a world in where he throws for 2 touchdowns when I don't think they're going to have very much success. Like they have some success running the ball, but the Bijan thing scares me because I've watched Tyler Algier be bad for like 3 weeks in a row now. And that would scare me. I still think they win this game in some weird, ugly fashion, like we were talking about. I would agree with your pick, even though once again, I'm not going to put any money on it, but you also bet on the Bears last week correctly. And I didn't put any money on that. So, you know, I'm not saying I know more about that than you, but you get what I'm saying. With this one, would
you like Titans Falcons total under?
I wouldn't hate it. With the games, that's 2 of the slowest teams in the NFL.
What's our number there?
It's got
42.5.
No, I mean I would see
39.
Yeah. I'll look at it right now, but I would guess it's in the 30s. We got it at 35.
Oh,
they're ahead of it.
No, I wouldn't touch it.
It's literally 2 of the bottom 5.
Shit, I'd take the over on 35.
You get to a certain point where it's like
I don't take anything under 38. I just don't touch it. 38, I don't feel great about. I don't like to bet anything in the teens.
That makes sense.
And one of those teams is going to be in the teens.
Yeah, I would agree. That's a gross game.
35, and people are still not taking the total on the game is 35, and yet you're giving Atlanta 2.5 on the road. It's like, do they just expect Atlanta to be totally a cop? I guess that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, that is what they expect. So we'll see. We're still going to
Atlanta gets 25 points in this game. I'm not taking this Ridder side.
Wow. So
I think the Titans are cooked.
So you don't like the Ridder bet?
I like Atlanta to score a defensive touchdown in this game. Wow. Those are worth 7.
Wow. Okay. That would be.
I think they're going to kick a lot of field goals.
Okay.
But it also, Drake London is very good. Jonnu Smith is going to get. Can you get a Jonnu Smith anytime touchdown for me?
Yeah. Why is there no? Let me look at Jonnu real quick. Let me just use my prop finder tool from the handy dandy prop finder tool.
If it's anything above plus 200, just
does Jonnu have 2? Oh, Jonnu has 2 ends in it. Crazy.
Yeah.
30.5 receiving yards. There's still no TD bets out for that one. For that game.
There's no anytime touchdown for the
not yet. It's Thursday, y'all. They've been slowing down with these, man. Like there weren't touchdown props last night for Thursday night football on a Wednesday night.
That's not good.
Gotta be
better.
Well,
Jonnu Smith anytime touchdown. If it's anything that it just looks big. If you're getting anything close to 3-1, just ride it.
I love it. Cuckoo Kachu Jacob Ferguson fantasy football team will really appreciate it if that happens. And Jonnu gets in the end zone there. So.
Weekend at Purdy's needs all the help it can get.
That's pretty good. All right, y'all. Just to recap real quick.
What a hot mess of a show this was.
No, it's
I'm sorry.
Fun,
that's
dude.
on me.
I enjoyed it so much. I interrupted you in the necessary times. Don't even worry.
No, it's okay.
The recap here we've got on Dieter's sides. We've got the Chefs -7. Mm-hmm. We've got the Falcons -2.5.
Yes, sir.
We've got the Bengals +3.5. You can go ahead and hit that as soon as you see this video.
Yep.
If you want to take the money line, you're saying wait until for whether or not you think Purdy is going to play in this game, and if he does not, take it.
I would. My advice on the money line is to read the reports, take a side based on the reports that you read. Let's say Friday, Kyle Shanahan will go to the podium Friday at around 12:30 Pacific time, and he will say, "We'll find out at game." Just read the room, read between the lines. If you don't think Purdy's going to play, take the money line as you're currently getting it. And if you do think he's going to play, just take the number.
Cool. Understood. For props, we've got the bets I'm bringing here. Travis Etienne over 62.5. I also threw out crap. I just lost my other bet that I just had up. Did you?
You liked Ridder. You liked Ridder on the under.
Yeah, that was my third bet. Yeah, that's right. And actually, that was because of the first bet that I went with.
And we hated Puka.
We're not going Puka, but we are going under PJ Walker, 207.5.
207 on the PJ Walker.
202.5 still good too. Yeah. So under PJ Walker passing yards, over Travis Etienne rushing yards, under Desmond Ridder passing touchdowns, under 2. Still think it's a good number. So we're going to come back and be better next time. I mean, because we'll have one. Well, we're going to have one is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Like,
I can't. Yeah,
we're going to be sitting in a 7-0 fortress, just unstoppable, and just blow all the profit.
And then the content can be as shit as we want it to be because we made money, right?
That's right. No, we had to really hunker down this week.
Yeah, definitely. We're getting into
Let's not do that again.
We're getting into the weeds here for sure, man. But that is all the time, like I said, a couple times now.
So much Falcons Titans. That's how bad it got.
That is Dieter Kurtenbach. I'm Josh Lander. And until we see you next week, hopefully, happy betting.